Now, we know that yesterday, Gary Gensler was called in front of the House Financial Committee. He was grilled once again, but those guys were asking simple questions. Even like when asked, do you think Bitcoin is a commodity or is Bitcoin a commodity? Even then, Gary did not want to answer. Gary will just keep giving vague answers after vague answers, and I don't think he wants to answer anything ever. Like there's like almost no point of bringing him in front of Congress. He is the master at dodging questions. But basically, the House Financial Services are telling him, hey, you need to approve those Bitcoin spot ETFs immediately. So whether it's this year or next year, yesterday he postponed the decision on 2 ETFs months ahead. So that made people question whether or not we're actually going to get one this year. It's not over yet. We still have 2 months left of this year. So can we get one in November? Quite possibly. But this is a talk in town right now because what is going on with Gary, right? And here's the funny thing. I'm hearing that the SEC actually wants to accelerate the launch of Ethereum futures ETFs, not Ethereum spot ETFs, but Ethereum futures ETF because they simply want it off their plate. They don't care about futures ETF. That's why they approve so many Bitcoin futures ETF. That's what I'm hearing, but it makes me wonder why. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Gary. I don't think anyone knows what's going on with Gary. But Altcoin Daily, I don't know. I don't know if I should credit him, but he posted this. I don't know if he found this out. But Gary Gensler has a brother, Robert Gensler, who happens to be vice president of T. Rowe Price Group, which is an enormous investment company, over $1.4 trillion worth of assets. Does this have something to do with it? How come no one knew that Gary Gensler has a identical brother? It almost looks exactly the same as Gary. I mean, this picture looks exactly the same as Gary. But T. Rowe Price, actually in the past, in 2021, they posted this saying to take crypto seriously, but they're not holding yet. And recently, I saw that they are going to test public blockchains. So maybe he's just holding things back. Gary is, until his brother's company is ready to move forward with crypto. Maybe that is the reason. Hopefully it's not, but who knows? Maybe family. Maybe family's causing him to do this, right? I don't know.
Buy Bitcoin before it's too late, okay? Because this is why Bitcoin was created. For all these reasons that Satoshi couldn't even fathom back in 2008 when he wrote the white paper and then finally released Bitcoin in 2009. There were problems already. There were banks and financial collapses that happened in 2008. But I don't even think Satoshi could have imagined just, 15 years later, the situation we're in now, okay? But regardless, we got Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is just better in every single way. You can't do what the government's doing around the world by printing an unlimited amount of fiat whenever they want to, raising rates whenever they want to, or cutting rates whenever they want to. All the shenanigans that we're seeing right now with monetary policy, with quantitative tightening, all these things, you don't have to worry about that with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a set supply, it has a set inflation rate, and that inflation rate gets cut in half every 4 years. It's really simple. No one can shut down Bitcoin. No one can inflate Bitcoin. No one can destroy Bitcoin, really. Well, you could lose your private keys, but it is controlled by the people, managed by the people, and it's distributed around the world. So it can't be shut down or stopped or changed in any way. It's just such a better system. That's why you gotta buy Bitcoin before it's too late. So Adam Black believes Bitcoin is digital gold for the next millennium. I mean, yes, of course. It's better than gold in every single way. It's easier to transport. It's easier to secure. You could actually use it and pay for things. Imagine trying to shave a bar of gold at Subway or Starbucks or McDonald's. No, that's not possible. Bitcoin is better as a store of value than gold in every single way. The only use cases for gold that's better than Bitcoin, I guess, would be jewelry and electronic stuff that's needed. But as a store of value, as a medium exchange, as a digital network, Bitcoin is better in every single way. And one day, Bitcoin will catch up to gold's market cap and surpass it. That day may be sooner than we think because of all the institutional interest, with the world recognizing Bitcoin as a legitimate digital currency and a store of value. No one is trying to shut it down anymore. In fact, they're welcoming the miners because they're, all the states and countries are making boatloads of tax money from the miners, and also they're using that money to improve their electrical grid. So it's a win-win. And there's a lot of wasted gas, like flare gas from the oil companies, that could be used for Bitcoin mining. There's so many positives to Bitcoin mining. But one day, when Bitcoin catches up to gold in market cap, Bitcoin will be worth $700,000 per Bitcoin to reach a $13 trillion market cap. It's probably not going to come this cycle. Probably not going to come next cycle. Well, you know what? I take that back. It could. It could be a reality for next cycle. If this cycle Bitcoin hits 250,000 or even 200,000, that's less than a 4x to get to 700,000 from there. So maybe we could get there next cycle. Even if we can't, maybe the cycle after that. Every cycle is only 4 years. So we're not talking about like 400 years in the future. No, we're just talking about 4 years. So worst case scenario, let's just say 10 years, 8 to 10 years. Bitcoin could be at $700,000 each. That's why it's important to buy now and accumulate now versus later when it's too late, when Bitcoin will be too expensive for most to afford even one, let alone 0.1. When Bitcoin's at 700,000, even 0.1 Bitcoin costs 70,000, which is still way more than what people could afford. So then you got to go down another decimal point. 0.01 at that point will be $7,000. You could buy 0.01 Bitcoin for very cheap right now, just a few $100s, but in the future, just get a fractional amount of Bitcoin is going to cost people thousands of dollars. So don't wait until that happens. Buy and hold and accumulate now while things are still cheap. And you can see it. I mean, everything I've been talking about with the government, with the debt ceiling, I mean, the just endless debt and overspending. Why would you trust fiat at this point, right? You want to be holding something better. And we happen to be in a buy zone. If you're looking at RSI, this is a really good visual. Color-coded RSI. You can see where the tops are. And of course, you can see where the bottoms are and the buy zone. And Bitcoin is in a buy zone. We're not even in the hodl zone. We're clearly in the buy zone because we're not above $48,000 yet. That is when Bitcoin kind of moves up into the hodl zone. But right now, it's still very cheap. This is the time to be accumulating, and eventually we're going to move up as we get closer and closer to having an event. We will hit kind of that Fibonacci level that we always do, and that's right around like the 48,000 mark. And we're just going to trend up slowly towards that mark unless we get some spot Bitcoin ETFs approved this year. We have some deadlines coming up next month. If we get one or all approved, well, we will hit 48,000 almost immediately. If we don't and it gets pushed back into 2024, which is fine, we'll just slowly trend upwards until the end of the year. And then 2024 is when we start the quadfecta of pumps, like I like to call it. The quadfecta is coming in 2024, and it will be marvelous. It'll be insane. NASA plans to use the blockchain to store data on the moon in case the Earth gets taken out by aliens or by an asteroid or something. Maybe future civilizations or aliens will find information about Earth on the moon. That's what they plan on doing. I don't know how they're going to use blockchain to store data on the moon. According to this, go put it on some kind of hard drive and they're going to ship it to the moon. But I don't know how it connects to a blockchain when there's no internet on the moon. There are some data where, storage devices, and I don't know, maybe there are some blockchains where you could have offline mode, and then as soon as you connect it, then, it gets verified. Maybe it has to be something like that. Or they plan on putting a, satellite antenna up there that will get continuous internet from Earth. I don't know how that works. But they also plan on utilizing it to prove that we can go to the moon and it wasn't a hoax. You figure by now, it's been 70 years? However many years since we've been back to the moon. You figure we're more advanced, right? You figure one of those SpaceX rockets from Elon could easily go to the moon and back by now. So did it really happen before? I don't know. That's one of those things.